Welcome to This Explainer. Look, today we're doing something a little bit different. We are completely ignoring the flashy headlines, the wild profile pictures, and all the meme coins. Instead, we're going to uncover how crypto is quietly yet incredibly rapidly becoming the foundational plumbing for the AI era. It's a massive infrastructure shift, and it's happening right under our noses.
I mean, with Bitcoin just kind of hovering between 76 and 78 grand for weeks on end, it is super easy for the average observer to think this whole space is just a giant casino, right? You look at the charts, you see the volatility, and you ask yourself, why does any of this matter if I don't care about the price tags? But what if the real revolution going on right now has absolutely nothing to do with speculation?
Here is the massive paradigm shift we really need to wrap our heads around. The price isn't the story. The plumbing is. Literally, the underlying financial infrastructure that's actively being built and wired into traditional systems, all while everyone else is distracted by daily price swings. We are talking about the brand new rails that will power the next generation of commerce.
So here's how we're breaking this giant ecosystem down today. We'll start with why the real story is plumbing, move into nationalizing the stablecoin, explore the era of machine money, look at why boring NFTs are winning, and wrap up with how to navigate this new playbook.
All right, let's dive right into Section 1. The real story is plumbing.
To really grasp the sheer scale of what is happening, just look at the massive shifts that went down in a single 24-hour window recently. I'm not kidding. In one day, we saw 25 banks join a euro stablecoin project. At the exact same time, the European Central Bank pushed back on easing stablecoin rules. Meanwhile, over in the US, the SEC revealed plans for trading crypto versions of stocks, and the Senate Banking Committee advanced landmark crypto legislation. If you connect these dots, these are not isolated events. They are four massive signals pointing straight toward a compliance-first financial infrastructure.
Which brings us to Section 2, nationalizing the stablecoin.
Now, whenever you hear about central banks pushing back on stablecoins, the gut reaction is usually panic, right? But regulators aren't actually trying to kill stablecoins. They are actively nationalizing them. Think about it from their perspective for a second. The European Central Bank does not want unregulated dollar-backed stablecoins eating up their euro market share. That's just them protecting their national interest. So instead of destroying the tech, they're backing bank-issued stablecoins, like that euro project with 25 banks we just talked about. These bank-issued digital assets essentially act like a highly efficient, supercharged version of a money market fund. The blockchain infrastructure wins regardless of whose name is actually on the token.
Okay, moving right along to Section 3, the era of machine money.
This right here is the absolute core revelation of this explainer. I want you to completely forget about human beings clicking buy on a website for a second. What on earth happens when an artificial intelligence needs a wallet? Enter machine-to-machine commerce. Imagine autonomous AI agents constantly paying each other for services. You know, API calls, a little compute power here, bits of data there. And they need to do this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in tiny microscopic increments, entirely without us humans stepping in to approve every single transaction. The AI literally becomes the customer.
But here's the headache. Say a Brazilian AI agent needs to instantly buy a tiny sliver of compute power from a server in Vietnam. Traditional, localized payment rails like Visa or a standard bank account, they completely break down. They're way too slow, they require human identity verification, and they just aren't truly global. Crypto rails, on the other hand, are programmable, permissionless, and purpose-built for this exact global, 24/7 microtransaction environment. It is quite literally the only financial layer capable of moving at the speed of autonomous machines.
And honestly, this underlying necessity is exactly why we're seeing AI-specific tokens going crazy right now. Take Near Protocol, for example. It recently jumped by nearly 28%, and networks like Fetch.ai are seeing similar action. Now sure, part of this is just speculation, but fundamentally, the market is actively trying to price in a future where AI agents use these very specific tokens to coordinate decentralized compute and data gathering without having to rely on any single central authority. The token is the incentive that makes the whole machine economy actually tick.
Now let's shift gears to Section 4, boring NFTs are winning.
Okay, I know. When you hear the acronym NFT, your brain probably jumps straight to those cartoon apes. But honestly, scratch that. That speculative era is totally over. Today, NFTs are quietly evolving into incredibly powerful utility tools. We're talking about the truly boring, everyday stuff. Airline boarding passes securely held in your phone's wallet. Brand memberships that actually unlock loyalty programs, Identity verification, reputation tokens. It's not flashy, but when a major airline starts issuing boarding passes this way, boom, that is a billion-user adoption moment. The boring version is what's actually winning.
And the sheer scale of this boring utility is staggering. We are looking at a near future where literally trillions of dollars in real-world assets get moved on-chain using this exact tech. We're talking tokenized treasuries, tokenized real estate, tokenized private equity. That whole messy, speculative art phase, that was just a rough draft. The real use case is bringing the world's most boring, yet infinitely valuable, traditional assets onto programmable blockchain rails.
Now you might be sitting there asking, okay, but where does Bitcoin fit into all of this machine money and asset tokenization stuff? Well, it sits right underneath the whole shebang, but not as a competitor to AI tokens or stablecoins. It plays a completely different role as a sovereign-grade digital gold reserve. It's basically the trust anchor for the entire space. And this is perfectly highlighted by SpaceX. They're holding over 18,700 Bitcoin, which is worth roughly $1.3 billion right on their balance sheet. They view it as a long-term store of value, not just some transactional currency.
All right, that brings us to our final part, Section 5, Navigating the New Playbook.
So how do we actually make sense of this completely transformed financial landscape? Well, to really navigate this, you've got to follow 3 distinct steps. First up, you absolutely must separate your views into 4 distinct markets. Bitcoin is digital gold, stablecoins are your payments, AI tokens are for decentralized compute, and NFTs are for asset tokenization. We have to stop treating this like one giant, identical asset class. Second, watch closely to see who gets the licenses. The next 10 years will totally be defined by which traditional players manage to secure bank partnerships and custody licenses. And third, if you want to look to the future, look for the builders focusing on products where AI agents are the primary customers. Machine-to-machine commerce is a massive, wide-open frontier.
But hey, before you go jumping all in, a quick word of caution here. Do not confuse a cool narrative with actual fundamentals. An AI token jumping 28% on a vibe is, at the end of the day, still just a vibe. As focused learners, we've got to demand the data. Always wait for actual, measurable on-chain transaction volume to prove that AI agents are genuinely and consistently using these networks before you consider it a solved problem. The data is absolutely starting to appear, but it requires patience and a good eye for pattern recognition.
Which leaves us with one final massive question to chew on as we watch this brand new financial plumbing get laid down all over the globe. We know the machines are getting their own money, but when autonomous AI agents start managing their own wallets and paying each other 24/7 without any input from us, who is really controlling the economy? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.